Welcome to the Karen Kenney Show.
Hey, you guys, welcome to the Karen Kenney Show. I'm super duper excited to be here with you today. And we're just going to dive right into this sucker. So I'm calling this episode, Everything Old is New Again. Now, you probably recognize this. This is a proverb which was first written back, and I wrote back in the 1700s. I didn't realize how old this sucker was. Everything old is new again. It's a famous proverb written back in the 1700s by Jonathan Swift, which is so funny because if you guys have listened to the show for a wicked long time, you'll often hear me reference this show, Gulliver's Travels, on the Banana Splits. Now, if you're young, you're not going to know what the Banana Splits is, but we grew up with this TV show, and one of the skits was always about Gulliver's Travels. So Jonathan Swift, who is the author of Gulliver's Travels, this is where this quote, everything old is new again, it comes from him. You may have also heard it because in 1974, Peter Allen wrote a song that the lyrics, it was called that, and the lyrics were that. And then even one of my literary heroes, Stephen King, who I adore, he has a version of this saying in his book, The Colorado Kid. And it says, sooner or later, everything old is new again. Sooner or later, it all comes around, doesn't it? So sooner or later, everything old is new again, Stephen King says. And I've been thinking about this for a bunch of different reasons. And I wanted to talk to you about it today because not only share with you some more about this concept, but how I see it at work in my own life and how I think it's going to affect maybe not your life specifically, but possibly, but certainly I think the larger world. I think in 2026, some things are going to shift and some things are going to change. And it's just a feeling that I have. It's something that I'm experiencing personally. I can tell what I'm desiring, what I'm looking for, what I'm hoping to create. And I think I can't be alone in this. Like double amen hands as we go through this episode today, as we continue to talk, or I continue to share what's on my heart and on my mind. Double amen hands, or send me a little note if this resonates with you too, and if it feels true for you. So first of all, let's dive into the meaning of what that means. Everything old is new again. So you know me, I always do a little Google. I love to look up the words and the meaning and dive a little bit deeper into it. So everything old is new again means that old ideas, old styles, old trends, or even problems sometimes often come back. They often return and they become popular again, or they become relevant again. Once more, they're kind of in the collective consciousness. But sometimes it's they're coming back though with a fresh perspective, or a new context, or it's coming back in a secular pattern that might relate to fashion or culture or even human beings and how we think and speak and behave. We're seeing a little bit of it now, even in how parents are naming their children like old-timey kind of names, right? They're naming their kids like Beatrice and like old, like I don't know, I'm not gonna, but the old timey names. Like if you hear them, you go, "Oh wow, that's like a old, like an what we would call the Gen X kids. We'd be like, oh, that's an old lady's name, or that's whatever, right?" In fact, I just recently said to somebody, "Oh, we should name your plant." She has an orchid. She's waiting for it to bloom. And I said, I don't know. I feel like she's an old lady. I'm like, we should name her like Gladys. And so we have Gladys the orchid. This is what I'm saying. These old names are like coming back up again and being popular again. It also suggests everything old is new again. That and stick in here, like stick around because this is going to lead somewhere that's going to matter. Okay, so it suggests that what was once passé, like in the past, old, whatever, it can be rediscovered. Who doesn't love rediscovering things? It can be revitalized. We can gain new appreciation for something. We're going to see it in a new way. It's going to have like significance to us again, but in a newfound way, like it's a renewed way. And it got me to thinking about like how, you know, kids these days are discovering vinyl like vinyl records, right? Like some people have always had them, they're collectors, whatever. But vinyl records are way different than digitized, right? Digitized music, which we have been onslaughted by. It's like just been like the auto tune and the all the bullshit, right? Okay. The phrase also acknowledges that history repeats itself, but that the past can also offer solutions or inspiration for the present. And that's kind of the heartbeat of what I'm getting at today. The solutions, the inspiration, the renewed and the revitalization of these old things becoming new again. And I was thinking about this too because my friend Joseph, who I call Hoggy, he lives in Kansas. And we met in California, but he lives in Kansas and now I'm here in New Hampshire. But he was, even back then, even way back then, he was a toy collector and he collects all of these like old timey kind of toys, which is incredible. In fact, he has this beautiful Santa that we found actually in New Hampshire that I procured for him. Of course, he paid me back and I shipped to him. But he lives in Kansas and he has this beautiful little apartment and he has these two big, like almost like storefront windows at the front of his apartment downtown. And he displays some of his stuff in there. But he takes like these old timey Santas and these old timey toys and he gives them a fresh spin by the way he displays them in the case and what he displays them with. And it's really, really cool. He's somebody who's always taking something old and making it new again. I was also thinking about this because of fucking skinny jeans. Oh my God. My sweetie and I were both like, I need some new jeans. And I literally said to him, if I have to put on one more pair of skinny jeans, I'm going to punch myself in the face. I'm like, I just can't, you know? And I started laughing. Now, look, I don't mind tight pants sometimes. Like I wear yoga leggings, right? Like all the time. I wear yoga pants all the time. But that's intentional. I'm wearing them because I don't want them to get in the way. It's a little compression. They feel nice, especially when I'm doing work and stuff. But like, I don't always want to have to suck myself into like some skinny jeans. And I was like, I just want some pairs of straight leg jeans, like my old, comfy, tomboyish kind of jeans. Right. And so I ended up finding some and they feel so good to put on my body. Double amen hands if you're feeling me about the skinny jean era. I'm not saying I won't still wear them once in a while, but I just like, ugh. So this old fashioned time sometimes coming back. We saw the big boom with like the flare pants. Remember like all the 70s flare pants? They became really big. We hear it a lot when as it applies to fashion, but I think we can apply it to some things in our lives. Now, I'm going to share with you right now. This is the first time you guys are hearing about this. I'm wiggling and waggling my eyebrows because I'm always hatching a plan. You know me. Because there are some things in my life that are kind of returning like full force. And I'm wicked excited about them. And so nobody knows this. Well, that's not true. A few people know this, but I recently was feeling the call to return to having my own space. And I haven't had my own space in a while. So like many of you may know that I had a yoga studio, like a brick and mortar yoga studio for over 10 years. I had it in different locations in New Hampshire, my final space being in Concord, New Hampshire. I loved having a yoga studio. I loved having my own space where I could like decorate it the way I want to. I could create the vibe the way I wanted to. I set it up the way I wanted to. My systems, my flow, whatever. Loved having my own space. Loved being able to create a warm and welcoming space for other people to enter and to feel welcome into. And I've been kind of missing that. And it's a really fantastic story. I don't want to tell the long story right now. I'll tell it maybe on another episode. But I recently have committed to a space in Concord. And it's fantastic because it's in this very busy, and I don't mean very busy like, oh, it's loud and noisy, but it's a very busy and well-established chiropractor's office. And there's several other women in the office who do different things like massage therapy and stuff like that. And then I have my room, which I'm going to be doing like Thai yoga body work, assisted stretching, private yoga, some spiritual mentoring, some integrative change work, right? And that's like amazing. But also in the same building down the hallway from my little room, which is cozy and fantastic. I've already painted it and like ready to go. There's also another room which I'll be using for yoga classes, which I'm so psyched about. And this is the thing. These are things that have been kind of in my life forever. I've been a yoga teacher since like 1999, been practicing even before that. And I've been doing Thai yoga massage since 2008, Thai yoga bodywork since 2008. And I fell in love with it like right away. Thai yoga massage, Thai yoga bodywork is the original assisted stretching. Okay. We can talk about that another time. But we see all these quote unquote stretch places like popping up all over the place. But Thai yoga massage is the original assisted stretching. It's been around for thousands of years. Goes all the way back to the Buddha. And it's an incredible healing modality. But that's not what this is about. It's just that these old things that I've been doing for a really long time, you know, when I let go of my yoga studio and I started really diving into spiritual mentoring and life coaching and all of that stuff, I slowed down. I was only teaching like one yoga class a week. And now there's kind of this resurgent and this return to yoga. It's not like a return to yoga. It's just a more intensive relationship, like doing it more, teaching more. Not going back to the days when I was teaching like 15 classes a week, mind you, but a few more a week. I've been seeing more private clients for yoga. It's just been like fantastic. And it feels so good to be returning to my roots, returning to these places where not only these spiritual practices and things that sustained me, that helped me heal, that continue to support me on my own journey, but getting to share them with other people that I love, getting to put my hands on people again. You know, I mean, I've always done that at the end of yoga classes, giving people wooshy wooshies, as I often say, little head massages, but being able to really have a dedicated space where I can practice the art and science of yoga and Thai yoga massage that is my own, and really get to share these modalities with people again in a very concentrated way is just making me like so friggin' happy. I'm so jazzed. So this old way of how I used to do business, where I really just kind of focused on, you know, yoga and Thai yoga and all these things, it's coming back again. The old is being made new again. And it's not just being made new again, it's being newly appreciated again. And one of the fun things about having a space again is like being able to have these fresh eyes, right? So one of the things about having a yoga studio is that over the year, oh, you can actually see two of them in the background, right? Two of my murtis, two of my statues. So one of the things about having a yoga studio is over the years, I've collected all kinds of murtis and statues, and they have been a presence in my yoga studio, right? Like fixtures, and people who come to class will say, "Oh my God, you've had that Ganesha like forever." And I'm like, "I know, you know." But the thing is that I'm getting to go what I call like shopping at my house. So so you guys can't see it, but to the left of me over here, I have these three long bookcases, these shelves, and on top of it are all of these different like statues, murtis, crystals, stones, candles, like all these great things that I've had because I've had studios over the years, right? And whatever. So now whenever I create a new space, I call it like, oh, I'm going shopping at my house, which is I don't really often have to like go out and buy a lot of things because I'm like, oh, these old things that I've had, they're becoming new again. I get to look at them with new eyes and imagine them in new ways. And I think this is something. When I think about these objects, it also helps me to think about, it's like kind of this jumping off point for how we can look at each other. As we're moving into the new year, we can have fresh eyes, new appreciation for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our sweeties, for our friends, for our children, for our work, our creativity, starting to look at maybe some of these old ways that we have been being and how can we make them new again, these old relationships that maybe you just kind of took for granted a little bit, and how can we approach them with new and fresh eyes. I think this is a wonderful, not only a challenge, but an opportunity to get to see like, yeah, where have I just kind of stopped seeing this person or taken them for granted a little bit, or stopped appreciating their beauty, their kindness, their compassion, all the stuff they really do. Right? This is also the concept of the good, the beautiful, and the holy, like remembering who we really are, who our brothers and sisters are, right? Who our partners and our family members and our friends and the community are, right? These, like, looking at quote unquote the old, mean we just get used to it, but looking at it with deep appreciation. And this is a note that I made to myself, right? Returning to these old ways, but with new awareness and appreciation and devotion. And the devotion piece is the piece that I'm really feeling quite deeply right now in my own life, and what I'm kind of yearning for. You know, I have things that I'm definitely devoted to, like my own DSP, my daily spiritual practice and stuff like that. Certain friendships, of course, my sweetie, my relationship with my sweetie and my kids, all of that. But there's other things that I think it's time for us to return to. Now, and this is where kind of what I'm kind of predicting or feeling very strongly, like in the marrow of my bones, like in my soul, as dramatic as that might sound. There's just been, I think, a deep, besides the loneliness epidemic, I think there's a deep, deep desire and calling for some of these things I'm about to talk about. So these are the things I wrote down. I said, this is a time of returning to things that we may have forgotten their value. We may have forgotten how important they were, or how they made us feel, how they allowed us to express ourselves or connect with each other or to serve our community, right? So kind of coming at things with fresh eyes, with this newness. We may have even taken these people, these places, these things, these objects for granted in the past, right? These skill sets, these talents. You know, sometimes something is because it starts to become easy for you. We can sometimes not always appreciate how effective they are. Certainly other people can do this towards us or our skill set, our services, our businesses, our offerings as well. They take it for granted. They think, oh, that restaurant, that little studio, that little salon, that little whatever is always going to be there. And they just take it for granted until one day they walk up and they see out of business or closed indefinitely or whatever. And it's like, oh shit, man, I should have shopped there more, or, you know, shopped local, small business, or I should have supported them or done a shout out on social media. Oh my God, I love that. Blah, 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 blah. Right. We may have even taken some things or some people or some talents or skills, your own offerings, right, for granted, not recognizing how vital they are to our joy and our happiness and our vitality and our inspiration and our peace, you know? And it's not just the return to necessarily like the experiences or offerings. It's not just, oh, now I'm going to return to it. That's making it special. Yeah, that's lovely. But it's about the renewed sense of purpose. This is what makes this everything old is new again kind of special and wonderful. It's just revitalizing things and revisiting them with a renewed sense of purpose and intention, and meaning and significance. I made some notes to myself so I don't forget that these moments and these experiences can bring to our lives, bring to my life, because this is what I'm experiencing right now, but also bring to your life as well. If we're willing to really pay attention and think about this. You know, if you've ever noticed, like if you've ever been cleaning out your closet or cleaning out your house or something, and you come across an item or a trinket or something, and it sparks this memory, it sparks this feeling in us, and we're like, oh my God, I totally forgot about this. And then you have like a deep appreciation for it. I know that happens to me all the time. I'll be like, oh my God, I forgot about this, or I forgot about that. Right? Person, place, thing, object, meal, whatever. And then all of a sudden there's like a renewed sense of connection and excitement about it. And, you know, so I move pretty fast. Like once I commit to a thing, I move pretty fast. And so I literally, last week, I got the keys to the space on Sunday. And by Sunday evening, the place had been painted and like whatever. I'm still painting the yoga room, but my little office, my little space where I'll be seeing people for private and personalized, practices and programs, I bang that sucker out. And so one of the things that I do is, when I create a new space, I was thinking about my Nana. I painted the space. I put down my floor cushion because we do Thai yoga body work on a big cushioned mat on the floor. You're fully clothed. Think of it like the best of like assisted stretching, assisted yoga postures, compression of the muscles, energy work, acupressure. Like if you've never, and really the heartbeat of it is what we call metta, 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 which means loving kindness and compassion. And that's the heartbeat of this work. It's incredible. So a lot of times, like I'm laying in my space. So the new space is set up, my mat's on the ground and I'm laying on it. I'm just kind of taking in the space. And whenever I start a new space or begin a new project in this way, I have these rituals that I do. And this is a thing about rituals. Rituals become rituals because they've been happening for a long time. Sometimes these rituals are passed down from our ancestors. I think it's really important that, it's so easy in this day and age to feel like you don't have any lineage, you don't have any history, but we all come from a long line of familial ancestry. And then we also have sometimes our chosen lineage. Like for me, being a Kripalu yoga teacher, like Swami Kripalu, like that lineage stretches back and back and back. And I'm proud to be a part of that lineage of yoga teachers from Kripalu. But and we're back. I was taking a little tangent. But so as I was laying in my space and looking at the walls and the ceiling and imagining the people that were going to be coming there and the blessings I wanted them to receive and just the joy and the goodness, like all of it, I started to think of my little Nana. So my Nana, I think of her, she may have not thought of herself this way, but I always thought of her like a little Italian witch. And so she taught me some rituals through like watching her in my childhood, hearing the stories and seeing her actually do these things. My Nana had these little, now to be clear, I'm not an Italian kid, right? I'm a little Irish kid. I'm a little, I got some Scottish, got some English, got some little French in there from the Quebec people coming over from whatever, right? But so I'm an Irish, little weirdo Irish kid. But my Nana was Italian. And she had these rituals. And if you're, some people call it the Maluk or the Maluki, the evil eye, like whatever. There's like these little rituals that she used to do. And she also taught me about blessing houses and blessing spaces. So there's this little ritual that I do. And I was thinking about this, that like these things that she taught me through her embodiment of these things, these weren't things that she like just did. These were things that were part of her. They come from her lineage and her history of women who did this before her, that then she kind of like passed down. And they're rooted in rituals and they're rooted in devotion. And they're rooted, a lot of them, in the devotion of creating safety for your loved ones, creating beautiful spaces where people feel safe and warm and welcomed, to cast out or get rid of like old energy, bad energy, people who are jealous, et cetera, right? And so I've just been kind of thinking about this return to what is old, those old values and principles and rituals and things that kind of get lost along the way. And especially in this age where everything is fucking fast and speedy and digitized and, like just it's so disconnecting. And it's like everything is like so digital and online and mechanical and computers and machines. And I think right now people are desperate for human connection. And so I made a list of the things that I know I'm not only wanting to experience in 2026, but that I also want to create, that I want to collaborate with, right? And that I get to share with others. And these are the things that I'm kind of feeling. And some of these I already have in existence, and it'll make sense in a moment. So if you're listening, you can just make little check marks. You can write some of these down and check them off and say, yeah, me too. Like I want to experience this too if it resonates with you, right? So back in the day, in the past however many years, there's really, especially in the entrepreneurial world, in the world of coaching, in the world of like masterminds and like all this shit, right? It's always like, you got to get in the room, get yourself in the room, get in the room where the power is, get in the room where the people are, get in the room and network, get in the rooms, you know? And I'm like, I don't want to get in those rooms. I don't necessarily want to anymore get in the rooms of like 300, 400, 600, 700 people. I'm not saying that those rooms are bad or that they're not appropriate sometimes, but I'm not looking really to get into the big rooms. I want the cozy rooms, you know? Like I want the rooms that are small and intimate spaces where you actually get to know each other, get to know each other's names. So I'm into in 2026, right? Cozy rooms. Still get in the rooms. I want to be in person, right? I want more of that. Small intentional gatherings, whether I'm creating like yoga classes or writing salons, like writing little writing, workshops, little writing club, like that's kind of what I wanted to have, like a little club feeling, like when you see those movies, like when you watch like Stranger Things and there's like these four friends on their bikes, like that feeling. It's like everything old, all that retro stuff when we played outside and we hung out with our friends and we weren't on our phones. We were looking at each other eye to eye. We spent time, like we had some skin in the game in our relationships, right? We grew up together. Yeah, sometimes those relationships grew apart, but we look back fondly on those times when we were intentional with gathering with our friends, when we would call each other up and say, do you want to come over? Or you'd knock on some kid's door and you'd be like, can Timmy come out and play? Right? I think there's a yearning to go back to those intimate spaces. What I'm kind of calling the nest, I think about the nest, my group, my community and my spiritual group program, right? And what it really is it's a micro community. It's a small community. It's not very big. There's like 15, 16 people in there. We all know each other's names. We all know each other's stories. Like we all are sharing on the calls, right? Like, and it's just like a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a relationship based community. People are actually building relationships and friendships and they come to care about each other and love each other. That's what we're looking for in these small intentional gatherings of humans, these micro communities. I also want things to just slow down. Like me and my nervous system. Yes, nervous system regulation and nervous system safety and all that as well. But those are like byproducts of the softer, the slower, the steadier, the more sustainable, right? Just allowing the pace of things to slow the fuck down. Have things feel a little bit more sustainable rather than like rushing around and running around and busy, busy, busy and immediate response and demand and must and hustle and scarcity and competitive and all this online gotta be seen and heard and perform and like, no, softer, slower, steadier, more sustainable. I want to be in places that feel warm and welcoming where you feel like you belong. Remember, like I'm a kid growing up too who watched the show Cheers. Of course, Cheers based in Boston. Anytime Norm walked in, everybody yelled, Norm. We all want to go to a place where everybody knows our name. You know what I'm saying? Warm and welcoming. I want things to feel grounded. I want there to be an essence and a presence that, like, the people in that space are present, that they actually know how to listen, they know how to be there. That if I'm going to be in a room where there's a quote unquote leader, somebody who's leading things, yes, I want them to be strong. I want them to be confident. I want them to know what the fuck they're talking about, right? I want them to also, though, be tender and compassionate, that they can be strong and they can be soft. You know what I'm saying? That balance really matters. I want things to be, I'm looking at my list here. I want people and my experiences to feel like, not like people are performing, but that they're really embodied. That if you're going to go into a space with somebody, the person who is creating the space or leading the class or running the workshop or whatever, that they've, excuse me, embodied what they're teaching. Not just performing, not just getting up on stage and doing the performance, not just regurgitating some watered down version of somebody else's stuff. People that have read it, taught it, learned it, live it, and now are speaking it. Embodiment of whatever the practice or whatever. I'm not saying they have to be a genius or have it all right, but not to have it be about your spirituality being some performative thing. To really have embodied these things. Connection and calm. Connection and calm. That calm. And it's in those spaces where there's like true connection and calm. That's where your courage is going to grow. That is how your nervous system is going to learn how to experience safety. That is how your comfort zone is going to expand. We could all use a little bit more of that, right? I'm going to do a whole thing on comfort zones soon. I'm into, in 2026, more in person and hands-on. And as a yoga teacher, I am somebody who has always loved hands-on assists. There's a whole rigmarole, all right? Different people feel differently. I love teaching hands-on assists. I love giving hands-on assists. I love receiving hands-on assists. And here's the reality. A lot of people, sometimes the only person who is going to touch a person in any given week might be their yoga teacher or their massage therapist. If they're a yoga teacher that does hands-on assists, a lot of yoga teachers are afraid to touch. A lot of yoga teachers think it's inappropriate to touch. We always touch, of course, with permission first. But I have found that my students love to be touched. My students love to get the wooshy wooshy at the end of class. My students appreciate the loving, caring touch that they receive. So I'm into in-person and when appropriate, hands-on. I'm also kind of thinking like more personalized and private experiences. You know, I was thinking about the assisted stretching things. And this is no knock on them, right? I even worked at one for a little bit of time, right? Because again, I follow my curiosity. I'm like, oh, how is this working, right? But a lot of times you're doing those things in a wide open room with other people listening, and other people can see and they can watch you and hear you and the whole experience. And I'm really, again, not judging. It is what it is. And but I'm into more personalized and private experiences. I think group is amazing. Group learning, group community is amazing. And there's a time and a place for really personalized and private offerings. I'm into like analog, you know, and this is interesting. My friend Emmeline, her real name is Emily Aborn. So Emily is a copywriter amongst other things, right? And she actually, I'll just tell you about it now. So on December 23rd, she's doing her podcast, which is called Small Business Casual. It's very in line with what I'm talking about today. And her episode on the 23rd is about de-digitalizing, right? So it's like, that's hard to say. That's hard for me to say. So like getting rid of the digital, right? De-digitalizing. Okay, there we go. And the heartbeat of this is reclaiming your brain from the algorithm, like reclaiming your brain from the algorithms and such. I can't wait to listen to that sucker. And I'm telling you about it now because when I say analog, right, Emmeline and I are going to be collaborating in 2026. And a lot of what I'm saying right now, like what I'm craving and what I'm feeling, that the larger community, the people that I'm talking to, the people in the nest, these things that I'm talking about, the intimate spaces, the small intentional gatherings, getting in the small rooms, the micro communities, things being slower and more sustainable, things feeling warm and welcoming, all these things, right? The connection and the calm. These are things that I know that those people are craving. And Emmeline and I are coming together to create a little one-day workshop where it is going to be this vibe about kind of this analog vibe, this more human vibe. this in-person, down-to-earth, creative, playful vibe. So that just keep your ears tuned to that. And if you want to know when that's happening, if this is piquing your interest at all or piques your curiosity, just get on my newsletter, like my email list. It's just go to Karen Kenney, Kenney, KarenKenney.com / or / whatever they say. Sign up, one word, sign up. And that will get you on my list. And then you'll find out when all these things are happening. So analog, like old vinyl albums, when you listen to an old vinyl album rather than consuming digital music, you can hear the little cracks and the pops of the needle, right, going over the record. The sound, there is nothing else like it. And when you hear the bands from back then, their performances, right, weren't perfect. They were human, but it's what made the rock and roll sound ballsy and strong. It would make you go like make a face when you would hear like an intro to like a Led Zeppelin song or something like that, right? You could feel the humanity in it. There's nothing like it. And so I'm kind of talking about analog, like being in relationship with each other, like getting in person and having the perfectly imperfect human experience. That's where the richness is at. That's where the realness is at. And I think that we're craving this. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I could be totally mental. You guys could be listening to this and be like, I don't know. I don't feel any of this. Give me all the digital all the time, all the scrolling all the time, all the, computers and the whatever, the phones. But for me, man, I'm craving something totally different. I'm also talking about this. Now, I tend to write handwritten, right? I don't type wicked fast. So I think that 2026 is going to be an experience where the leaning or the craving or what the soul really wants is like more that handwritten experience, right? Like instead of getting a text from somebody or a message on Facebook, like going back to remember the joy of like getting a personal note in the mail that was handwritten and you could see a loved one's handwriting. You'll cherish those things later on when that person or your mom or your grandmother or your grandfather, whoever dies, like seeing their handwriting, it's so visceral. I write about this in my memoir, seeing my mom's handwriting after a wicked long time and what it did to me. So not something that's typed or text, right? Like handwritten and handmade things. One of the members of the nest, oh, I wish it was upstairs. It's downstairs because I was wearing it. Just sent me this beautiful scarf. I'm almost 100% positive that she knitted it herself. So shout out to Judy. Thank you, Judy. It's this beautiful gray scarf. And I was just like, you could feel the love in this thing. I'm like, whoever made this thing, they poured some of their not only talent and skill into this sucker, but you could feel the love when I wrapped it around my neck. And I was like, oh my God, yes, handwritten and handmade. Let's go 2026. I think we want to be in spaces where stories can be told and listened to and really heard. I think this is like a place where I was saying it's like analog and dialogue. Humans meeting face to face and connecting old school, right? How incredible is this? Now, look, I'm not anti-technology. I think it's incredible that we have things like FaceTime so that when you're traveling, like you can call and the person who's like house sitting can like let your dog see your face. Or your kids go off to college and right, or they break down the side of the road or whatever it is. Like I think there are certain parts of technology that are amazing, but I think that there is a deep like soul longing for things to kind of go a little old school. That's just me again. I think we're wanting to feel more nurtured and nourished instead of feeling sold to, instead of feeling like we're not good enough, instead of people always telling us how fucked up we are. We're to this, not enough that. We need to buy this. We need that because we're somehow a mess and we're not okay and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, just put me in a room with some people that see me and want to nurture me and nourish me. Right. And that's what I also hope to create with what I'm doing in my new space. We want to feel supported. We want to feel like we belong. We want to show up where we feel like love is what's being served at the table, right? Love is what's being served. And one of the great ways that I get to show love, yes, through my words and my podcast, this whole podcast is designed to spread more love in the world. But for me, it's also getting my hands on people and being able to work with them, being able to do, Thai yoga body work, to do assisted stretching, to be able to give assists in a yoga class, et cetera, to be able to lead people in a way that feels really loving. And I could go on and on and on about this, but I think you're getting the gist. It's just returning to the old when things were a little bit slower, when things were a little bit more intentional, where things weren't always like about rushing and getting and whatever. It's like the return to giving. It's the return to like, what do I have to offer the world? It's the return to connection. And I don't know. I think love is eternal. I think love isn't old. I think love is the thing that has existed probably the longest of all things, you know? But being able to really pull it forward and ask ourselves, right? How can I serve love at the table? How can I make what is old new again in my life? What are some of the things that I have to offer? What are some of the things that maybe I've just been walking by for 20 years in my house and I haven't stopped and appreciated it, whether it's a picture or there's an old memory that you pull up or old jeans, whatever it is. But if any of this resonates with you, I would love to hear from you. Come join the nest. If you're looking for that small, intentional, intimate little container, right? It's a little group of beautiful humans. They're incredible. You will love these humans, I'm telling you. Come to one of my yoga classes. I'm also going to be doing in January. This is new. This is like old being made new again. An old friend of mine, one of my former yoga students. She reached out to me and she invited me to teach yoga, a Monday night yoga class in January in this beautiful space. It's the Pembroke Pines Country Club in Pembroke, New Hampshire. And we're going to be doing yoga by the fire on Monday nights. It's so fantastic to be able, I haven't done a Monday night yoga class in a gazillion years, making something old new again. And it's beautiful because it's also going to be a fundraiser, and a portion of the proceeds is going to be going to the Community Action Program, which I'm wicked psyched about. And then on the last Monday in January, that Monday night, the classes are at 6 o'clock. Again, at Pembroke Pines Country Club. This is happening in January 2026, because I don't know whenever somebody's going to listen to this episode. But that last Monday night, God willing, no snowstorm, January 26th, my sweetie and I'm pretty sure it's the 26th. My sweetie and I are doing live music and yoga by the fire. It's going to be amazing. Me and Chris Lester getting the band back together again. So it's going to be super duper fun. But this is all I'm saying. These old things, everything old, as quote Stephen King, sooner or later, everything old is new again. And I'm just having a deep, deep appreciation for what's old in my life being brought back to life. And just not even necessarily, like I've been teaching, I've been doing all these things, but doing it in a deeper, richer, more present, more specific way. It's just, I'm overjoyed and I'm thrilled. And I hope some of you who are listening to this get to come and see my space and receive a private and personalized practice, and to receive a Thai yoga bodywork session or an assisted stretching session, or you come to yoga or you do private yoga or something, spiritual mentoring, whatever in the space. I would love to share it with you and that you get to see it. So thank you for being along for the ride today. I hope this was helpful in some way. I hope it gets you thinking and helps you to, generate some newfound appreciation for the people or the animals or the objects or the places in your life. Even just like, another thing too is like, we've lived on this land, it's originally Abenaki land. We now have a house here. And we have these trails like around our house, and we started walking this new trail. And I'm like, we've lived here. This is an old trail, but it's new to us. And like we've walked it once before, but we hadn't been on it in a wicked long time. We were just looking around at nature and marveling. We're like, oh my God, what is available to us when we pause and slow down and take a look around? Because that's also where creativity is going to happen, right? Creativity and courage. This is where it happens when we slow down and we spend time in safe places. So I'm wicked excited. Maybe I'll see you at Emmeline and I's, collaboration, our little play shop in 2026. Go listen to her podcast. It's Small Business Casual, coming out on the 23rd. And just thank you so much for listening and for being here. I super duper appreciate you and your time and your presence. Thank you so much. Wherever you go, may you leave yourself and the people and the animal and the places and the environment and the planet better than how you found it. Wherever you go, may you be a blessing. Bye.